The subject of the session is Better Strategies, which is a simple title, but there's a lot to it. And it starts at the very beginning. I've talked about script before from transactional analysis. And script is basically the book about our life, the manuscript, if you like. Just like actors read from a script when they're making a film, we have a script about our life, but it's not written at the end of our life like an autobiography. We write it at the beginning, and we start writing it, in inverted commas, before we can even speak, before we can even walk. As soon as we arrive, we have started writing our script. Obviously, we don't have vocabulary, we don't have words, we don't have language, but we have a brain, and you see it in every newborn child, especially the ones 6 months old, 12 months old. They're always looking around, trying to work out how everything fits together. And they learn very quickly that they can influence their environment. They have the attention of their very close family, their parents essentially, but close family. So the baby learns very quickly, hey, if I cry, I get one of those people at my bedside within seconds, and they just start trying stuff until they give me what I'm looking for, whether it's warmth or a clean nappy or food or anything. And imagine if you discovered that as an adult. All of a sudden you're at your desk or you're at home and suddenly you do something and then somebody's there in an instant saying, what do you want? I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. When you're a day old, you don't have to do anything but cry. And then you get offered all sorts of things, one of which is going to satisfy you. And that becomes a decent strategy for you. So already you've chosen, well, you perhaps haven't chosen it consciously, but you've become aware, certainly, perhaps not in the first few days, but very quickly, children become aware of the power that they have. And maybe the baby will suddenly realise that if he smiles, and that must happen quite early on. If you smile as a baby, then you make all those people around you happy. That works, tick. Crying works, tick. And all of a sudden, you started to put together a nice little portfolio of strategies, very simple ones, that work very well. So that's how it all starts with us. All of us have a script, and all of us have made decisions about how we are going to have our needs met in life. And obviously our needs get more and more complex as we get older. But the strategies don't change unless we're given better ones, or unless we're confronted with the fact that our strategies don't work anymore. Because even if they are not completely effective, if we kind of get what we want, why change? I mean, this is what this session is all about, is understanding that we start off very early, from day one, establishing these strategies in order to get what we want. And we never change them, we never think about them, and they become automatic, they become part of our behaviour. But we can get rid of them. They're not us. We think that they define us, but they don't. We can get rid of them. And identifying them is the first step to do so. And it's one of the pieces I'm going to read is called Switching to Manual, which I've talked about in previous workshops. But once you've identified a strategy or a habit that you want to do something about, you either just stop doing it, or, like we've talked about before, you bring in something else that is going to feel awkward to you, because it doesn't have that automatic feel to it. And I said, I think last week or the week before, if you're going to try something new, it's not going to work. But you need to know that. That's okay. Because you're going to work at it and establish a more automatic routine. But the first part is understanding that we have these strategies and habits. We've had them all our lives. And one of the other reasons why they work so effectively is because we attract people into our life who are going to help us fulfill the script that we've written for ourselves. And the classic is the victim and the rescuer. For every person who decides that their strategy is going to be one of a victim, and that seems crazy that a human being would consciously decide that, but it's not necessarily a conscious decision, and it's certainly not an informed decision. So if you were going to redefine your life at the age of 20 and develop your strategies the same way you did when you were 2 days old, 6 months old, 2 years old, you'd make different choices without a shadow of a doubt. Of course you would. And people don't do that. People don't even realize that they're doing things that are ineffective. They'll moan about stuff, but they won't actually do anything about it, those victims that we talked about. And they don't necessarily have to, because of the presence of the rescuers. Those people who have chosen a rescuing strategy and said, I'm going to get on in life by looking after other people. That's how I'm going to get what I'm looking for. And essentially, especially in those early days, and it doesn't really change as we go on through life, what we're looking for is just attention from other people. That's what we want. Attention, acknowledgement. That's it. And we'll do anything to get it sometimes. And again, if we've been doing things for all our life and they become so automatic that we don't realize, then what else is going on? What else are we doing that we don't realize? So it's always a good question to ask yourself, how do you get your needs met? How do you get what you want? What strategies do you use?